So let me give you the number first. If the current projections hold, your Social Security check gets cut by somewhere between $476 and $580 a month. Not at some point in the distant future. Starting in 2032, 6 years from now. And here's the part that most coverage leaves out. This cut doesn't only hit future retirees. If you're already collecting Social Security in 2032, your check goes down too. Anyone drawing benefits when the fund runs short takes the hit, current retirees included. Now, I want to be completely honest with you about what I'm going to cover today. I'm going to tell you where these numbers come from so you can trust them. I'm going to explain in plain English what actually happens in 2032 because most people imagine Social Security shutting down, and that's not what this is. In your head right now? Should I claim early before the cut hits? And then I'm going to give you 3 specific things you can do about it. Let's go. By the way, my name is Edward Gray, and I'm a retiree just like you. On this channel, I share what I've learned from my own retirement, my own mistakes, and the conversations I've had along the way, so you can see where you stand and what you might do differently. If that sounds like something you want more of, hit subscribe and become part of this community. And while you're down there, drop a comment. Are you already collecting Social Security, or are you still in the planning stage? Tell me where you are. All right, let's start with where these numbers come from. You see, every year the Social Security trustees, the people who actually run the program, publish an official report on the finances. The 2025 Trustees Report, published in June of last year, projects the retirement trust fund runs out of reserves in 2033. At that point, the program has to cut everyone's benefit by 23% to match what incoming payroll taxes can actually cover. Then the Congressional Budget Office, a separate independent agency, updated its own projection in February of this year. Their number is more aggressive. They say 2032 and a 28% cut. Why did the timeline move up? 2 things. First, inflation ran hotter than expected over recent years, which means the cost of living adjustments paid to current beneficiaries were larger and drawing down the fund faster. Second, the Social Security Fairness Act we covered in a recent video, the law that eliminated the WEP and GPO penalties on public sector workers, added nearly $200 billion in new obligations. So the 2 most current official projections say 2032 or 2033 and a cut of 23 to 28%. And here's what that means in actual dollars. The average Social Security benefit in 2026 is roughly $2,071 a month. A 23% cut on that is $476 less every month. A 28% cut is $580 less. If your benefit is $3,000, which a lot of men who delayed claiming are receiving, a 23% cut costs you $690 a month. A 28% cut costs $840 every month for the rest of your life. Over a 20-year retirement, the cumulative loss is somewhere between $114,000 and $200,000 depending on your benefit and which cut percentage actually applies. Now, I need to explain what actually happens in 2032 because the mental picture most people have is wrong. Social Security doesn't shut down. The program keeps running. Workers keep paying payroll taxes. Those taxes keep flowing into the system. The problem is the math. Right now, payroll taxes bring in enough to cover most of what's owed, but not all of it. The trust fund, reserves built up over decades, covers the gap. When those reserves run out, the program can only pay what the incoming taxes provide. And the incoming taxes can cover roughly 72 to 77% of scheduled benefits, depending on which projection you trust. The other 23 to 28% has no money behind it. So the law, the actual statute, not a congressional vote, automatically reduces everyone's check to match what the revenue can pay. No new legislation needed to trigger the cut. It happens mechanically under current law. And here's the specific thing that most coverage buries. The cut doesn't just hit people who haven't retired yet, it applies to everyone receiving benefits at that moment. If you're 74 in 2032 and have been collecting for 7 years, your check goes down. If you're 62 and just filed, your check goes down. The cut applies to current recipients and future ones simultaneously. Now, I know exactly what question is forming in your head right now, and I need to address it directly because it's the one piece of bad advice that's going to spread faster than anything else from this conversation. Should you claim Social Security early to lock in your benefit before the cut hits? No. And here's why the logic doesn't hold up. The cut doesn't distinguish between men who claimed at 62 and men who claimed at 70. Whoever is collecting benefits when the fund depletes, at whatever age, at whatever claiming date, takes the same percentage reduction. So, a man who rushed to claim at 62 thinking he'd lock in his benefit before 2032 arrives in 2032 with a permanently reduced base from claiming early, and then the cut applies on top of that permanently reduced base. He didn't dodge anything. He gave up benefit for nothing. The man who waited and built a larger monthly benefit arrives in 2032 with a larger base. The same percentage cut takes more dollars from him in absolute terms. But he still comes out ahead of the man who claimed early because he started from a higher number. Claiming early to protect yourself from the cut doesn't work. The cut follows you regardless of when you filed. And this brings me to something I want you to hold on to as we get to the practical section. Because what you can actually do about this is more useful than anything you might do reactively out of fear. Well, let me show you how I think about this, and what 3 things I'm specifically doing because of it. And if you've made it this far, if this is the first time someone laid out the numbers this plainly, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second. And YouTube uses that signal to decide which men see this video before they make the claiming decision without knowing any of it. You've got the information. The man who hasn't found this channel yet doesn't. 1 tap changes that. And if you're not subscribed, I want to be honest with you. This channel covers the financial mechanics of retirement that most men find out about too late. Every week, free. If you're watching this and not subscribed, you're choosing to miss the next one. That's your call. But hit subscribe now and you won't have to. Now, 3 things to actually do. The first thing is to stress test your retirement plan with the cut already factored in. Here's what that means practically. Take your projected Social Security benefit, reduce it by 23%. Then ask, can my retirement plan work with that lower number? If the answer is yes, but you have a cushion and the cut, if it happens, doesn't change your fundamental picture. If the answer is no, if a 23% reduction would genuinely put pressure on your monthly budget, then you have a specific gap to plan around. And knowing the size of the gap now, 6 years out, gives you time to do something about it. Don't do this once and forget it. Run it as a yearly check. Because the projections may shift, the cut percentage may change, and your income picture changes every year too. The man who knows his stress-tested number going in makes different and better decisions than the man who assumes his projected benefit is guaranteed. The second thing is to build income that Congress can't touch. And this is the most direct action available. Every dollar sitting in a Roth IRA is immune to this problem. Roth withdrawals don't count as income for Social Security taxation purposes. They don't affect your Medicare premiums, and they're not subject to any Social Security policy change because they have nothing to do with Social Security. Every dollar you move from a traditional IRA to a Roth right now, during the low-income window before Social Security starts, is a dollar that never depends on what Congress does or doesn't do to the trust fund. If the check comes in 23% lower than expected, the Roth fills the gap. without triggering a single additional tax consequence. That's a specific, concrete reason to continue using the golden window deliberately, not just for tax efficiency, but for income independence. The third thing, and this connects directly to the claiming early myth we addressed earlier, is to delay claiming if your health and income allow it. Here's the simple reason. If a cut hits everyone receiving benefits by 23%, a larger base produces a larger post-cut check. A benefit of $3,472, what a man who delayed to 70 might receive. After a 23% cut leaves him with $2,673. A benefit of $2,311, what the same man would receive at full retirement age, after the same 23% cut, leaves him with $1,780. That's still an $893 per month difference after the cut. Every month for life. The man who built the larger benefit before any cut arrives better regardless of what Congress does or doesn't do. Now, I'll say again what I've said before on this channel. Delaying doesn't make sense for everyone. Health history, income need, spousal situation, all of it matters. But for men who have real flexibility about timing, the argument for delay gets stronger when you factor in the cut scenario, because the larger base provides more cushion. All right, let me close with something honest. Congress has never actually allowed Social Security benefits to be cut. Every time the system has approached a funding crisis, most notably in 1983, Congress stepped in and found a fix. Raised the retirement age slightly, increased the payroll tax, made benefits for higher earners partially taxable, a combination of adjustments that kept the program solvent. That history is real and it matters. But here's also true. Every year Congress delays acting, the required fix gets larger. In 1983, they needed a relatively modest adjustment. Today, with the trust fund running deficits of $250 billion a year and the depletion date 6 years out, the adjustments required are meaningfully larger and politically harder. Saying Congress will fix it is probably right. Counting on it without a backup plan is a different thing entirely. The smart approach isn't panic. It isn't rushing to claim early to beat the deadline that doesn't actually protect you. It's running the stress test, building the Roth buffer, and maximizing the benefit through delay if your situation allows it. Because if Congress acts and the cut never comes, you made sound financial decisions regardless. And if the cut comes, you planned for it. Either way, you're not surprised. Drop a comment and tell me, does the 2032 timeline change how you're thinking about your Social Security decision right now? And if you know someone making the claiming decision soon who doesn't know about this, share this video with them, because the number they're planning around might be the wrong number. And finding that out 6 years from now is too late to adjust. And if you're not already part of this community, come join us, because this is what we do here. Real retirement, real numbers from guys who are actually living it. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. See you in the next one.